We've all heard the stories, right? Colossal structures so perfect, so massive, they just shouldn't exist. The internet is overflowing with tales of ancient aliens and lost super technologies. But what if the real story is even more mind-blowing? Forget the conspiracies. Today, we're counting down 5 ancient mysteries that experts have finally cracked, and they reveal a level of human ingenuity that's more impressive than any fiction. What our ancestors were truly capable of will change the way you see the past. Number 5. Göbekli Tepe, Turkey. Let's start our journey at a place that completely rewrote the history books. Göbekli Tepe, in modern-day Turkey, is the oldest known temple in the world. Radiocarbon dating shows its earliest structures were built between 9500 and 9000 BCE. That's a staggering 11,500 years ago, over 6,000 years before Stonehenge. The mystery here isn't just its incredible age, it's who built it. For decades, the theory was that complex religion and huge monuments only showed up after humans settled down, invented farming, and formed large communities. But Göbekli Tepe turns that idea on its head. It was built by hunter-gatherers. So, how could nomadic people, without farms, without metal tools, and without the wheel, create something so enormous and intricate? The site is made of multiple circular enclosures, each one lined with massive T-shaped limestone pillars weighing up to 20 tons. These pillars are covered in detailed carvings of animals like foxes, lions, and vultures. It's a feat of organization that was once considered impossible for prehistoric people. So, how'd they pull it off? Archaeologists now believe Göbekli Tepe was a regional gathering place. Different groups of hunter-gatherers would come together seasonally, maybe following animal migrations, to cooperate on this massive project. These builders had an incredible understanding of their environment. The site sits on a high ridge, not just for the view, but because it gave them direct access to high-quality limestone and plenty of flint to make their tools. And archaeologists have found thousands of those tools right on site, including the picks and scrapers used to quarry and carve the giant pillars. Number 4. The Trilithon of Baalbek, Lebanon. Our next stop takes us to Baalbek, Lebanon, home to a magnificent ancient Roman temple complex. But while the temples are stunning, it's what they're built on that has baffled historians for centuries. A podium made of some of the largest stone blocks ever moved in human history. The most famous of these are the Trilithon, 3 colossal limestone blocks, each weighing an estimated 800 tons. To put that in perspective, that's like 150 full-grown elephants. The mystery is simple, but staggering. How on earth did the Romans, or maybe an even earlier civilization, move and perfectly position blocks of this incredible size? Conspiracy theories often point out that Roman cranes could only lift a few tons, making this impossible without some kind of lost technology. But that ignores the sheer scale and brilliance of Roman engineering. The solution wasn't a single magic tool. It was a combination of smart logistics, massive manpower, and a deep understanding of physics. First, the logistics. The quarry was conveniently located about 800 meters from the temple site and, crucially, at a slightly higher elevation. This meant the stones didn't need to be lifted uphill. They could be moved down a carefully prepared, gentle slope. Archaeologists believe the Romans built huge earthen ramps to create a smooth path. Number 3. Sacsayhuam, Peru. High above the ancient Inca capital of Cusco, Peru, you'll find the monumental complex of Sacsayhuam. It's often called a fortress, but its purpose was likely ceremonial too. The site is famous for its massive, zigzagging walls, built from limestone blocks of incredible size. Some stones are over 18 feet tall and weigh more than 125 tons. But the real magic of Sacsayhuam isn't just the weight of the stones, it's the insane precision. The walls are made of irregular, multi-sided blocks fitted together so perfectly you can't slide a piece of paper between them. And all of this was done without a single drop of mortar. You can forget the wild theories about laser beams or ancient concrete. The answer, proven by archaeologists and experimental stonemasons, is a mix of brute force, incredible patience, and a technique known as scribing and pounding. First, the Inca would quarry a huge block of stone. Then, an army of workers. It's estimated that the construction, which began in the 15th century, involved over 20,000 people, would haul the rough block to the site, dragging the stones over log rollers with thick ropes. Once at the wall, the real genius began. A new block would be placed on top of a stone that was already set. The stonemasons would then trace the irregular shape of the bottom stone onto the one above it. This method took an immense amount of time and trial and error, but it created the unique, interlocking walls we see today. The irregular shapes and tight fit distribute seismic forces so effectively that the walls have withstood centuries of earthquakes that have leveled modern buildings in Cusco. Number 2. The Kailasa Temple, India. Prepare to be amazed, because our number 2 spot defies the very logic of construction. The Kailasa Temple, part of the Ellora Caves in India, is the largest monolithic structure in the world. That means it was carved from a single, massive piece of rock. Completed in the 8th century, the temple wasn't built up, it was excavated down. Artisans started at the top of a basalt cliff and carved their way downwards, creating a multi-story temple complete with courtyards, bridges, towering pillars, and life-sized elephant statues. To create the temple, an estimated 400,000 tons of rock had to be removed. The answer to the first part lies in a brilliant method and an army of workers. Experts believe thousands of laborers worked for decades, maybe even generations, to complete this masterpiece. The project started by digging 3 huge trenches into the top of the cliff, isolating a massive, rectangular block of basalt. From there, the sculptors worked from the top down. They carved the roof first, then moved down, hollowing out chambers and sculpting every intricate detail. And the missing 400,000 tons of rock? The most logical answer is that the rock was valuable. It was systematically removed and repurposed. The basalt chips and dust could have been used to create plaster for other buildings, construct roads, or been sold as aggregate. Number 1. Coral Castle, USA. Our number 1 spot goes to a more modern mystery, but one just as shrouded in myth: Coral Castle in Homestead, Florida. Between 1923 and 1951, one man, a Latvian immigrant named Edward Leeds-Skalman, single-handedly quarried, carved, and constructed a sprawling complex out of more than 1,100 tons of limestone. Ed was a small man, just 5 feet tall and weighing around 100 pounds. He worked almost entirely at night, in secret. When anyone asked how he did it, he'd just say he knew the secrets of the pyramids. This, of course, led to wild speculation about levitation, magnetism, and supernatural powers. The most famous part of Coral Castle was a 9-ton gate so perfectly balanced on an old truck bearing that a child could open it with a single finger. When the gate finally broke in 1986, it took a team of engineers and a massive crane just to repair it. So, did Ed Leeds-Skalman really discover anti-gravity? The answer, while less magical, is way more inspiring. Ed was a self-taught genius of engineering and leverage. He didn't have supernatural powers. He had a profound, intuitive grasp of classical mechanics. Rare photos and eyewitness accounts show Ed used simple, homemade tools, including tripods made from old telephone poles, chains, pulleys, and winches. He built his own block and tackle systems, which multiply force and allow a single person to lift weights many times their own. The rock itself, oolite limestone, is also porous and lighter than stone like granite. From the prehistoric plains of Turkey to the sun-baked soil of Florida, these monuments are a testament not to forgotten technologies or alien visitors, but to the most powerful force in the universe: human ingenuity. The people who built these wonders weren't primitive. They were brilliant engineers, astronomers, and artists. They moved mountains with brainpower, not magic. And that, in the end, is a far more wondrous story to tell. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep questioning and keep exploring.